Michael, this is a really unforgiving league, which makes 3 wins in a week, sorry, on the bounce very pleasing. How do you feel Stoke performed off the ball on Saturday?
Off the ball. I think we never. I didn't feel we were in any trouble in the game. The possession, we had less possession probably than what we anticipated in the game, but we controlled not having possession of the ball well. I felt limited the opposition to very few chances. They obviously had the long range shot that came back off the bar. But other than that, I felt we were fine. We looked at the game back. We were a little bit unhappy with parts of the build-up that have been really good this season, that we probably weren't as good as we have been in previous home games. We probably turned the ball over a wee bit too much as well, and probably tried to play forward at times a little bit too quickly, which meant we gave the ball away. But we worked very hard. The physical data is on a par with where we've normally been at this in other games at home this season. So yeah, look, at the end of the day, we won the game 2-0 at home, and it's important we recognise that we can play better, but it's also important to recognise that you're not, throughout this season and the number of games that we have, you're going to get weeks like we had, or games like we had on Saturday, and the important thing was that we won the game.
Yeah, the work rate of players like Stephen Fletcher must have been very pleasing for you, because he worked so hard off the ball on Saturday.
Yeah, look, I felt all of the team did that. I think Stephen, is in the team for his quality. We were asking a lot of him at this stage of his career, but he can still give you a shift. But mainly, what he gives you in terms of his quality of play and his link up and his goal threat. And him and Jacob are a good pair. Jacob obviously, he empties the tank every time he plays, and is a good foil for any of the other strikers as well. And you need that at the top end of the pitch, and you need it away from home as well. It's maybe more so at times than you do at home. So, we're pleased with obviously the work rate at the front too, and the team as a whole.
Bristol haven't got the greatest of home record, and they're only 5 points above the bottom three, but they'll be buoyed by their last 2 home performances, particularly getting a draw against Blackburn, and also they've got the return of their manager too.
Yeah, look, it's been a difficult time for them at home. You look at the results, and I think they've been ahead in a few of those games and came away with nothing. So that's always difficult when psychologically that's difficult for teams as well, and it can be in your head during games for players that they've maybe been in the lead and lost games or dropped points. Saturday was another example that they obviously were ahead against Blackburn to begin with and came away with only a point to show for it. So yeah, look, but we have to focus on ourselves. Our own away form prior to the previous 2 games has not been outstanding. I think now we're probably in the top 5 or 6 teams in the league in terms of our away form, and that's how it changes with a couple of results. And the fact that we've gone away from home both to Luton and Blackpool, who were both in good form and won the game 1-0, gives us all the encouragement and confidence we need now coming into this game, obviously away to Bristol.
You probably haven't done too much training in the last couple of days, but the basics of football, they don't really change, do you? You run, you pass, you battle, you win your duels. But over the season, you're going to get dips in forms, and obviously about the injuries you're getting. But how important is it to keep your sense of perspective and remember where you've come from, as you've just mentioned?
Well, it's very important. I think that there's always a focus on results, and that you can't get away from that. But it's also, for me, the focus has to be on the team and the progression of the team as well. So, as I said, I felt, we've obviously we're in a nice little run of three wins and 3 clean sheets, but I think we've played better at earlier times in the season than we have in these 3 games, and that's a good thing, because it's good that we can win when we're not maybe playing as well as we can do. And when I say playing as well, I mean that's predominantly with the ball and how we have control in the games. I think we've had that for periods in these games, but not ultimately seen the game out. If you look at Cardiff, for example, we dominated large portions of the game and were well in control, but ultimately we drew the game. So that's the nature of the league and the inconsistencies, I think, with a lot of teams in this league as well. And look, we're pleased with where we're progressing. We're dealing with a lot. We've 6-7 players unavailable to us. A number of those, have big parts in where we've been this season, and played a lot of football and been big parts of the team since I've been at the club. So, hopefully if we can get through this period and continue to get results, the squad will start to get stronger again, and that's what we need, obviously, as we come into a very busy period, particularly around the Christmas period, and then obviously into the new year.
Can you give us an update on the injuries?
Yeah, there's the update is that there's no change, to be honest. Bursic is obviously added to that. Suter's out for the season. Powell has tested positive for COVID, so is in 10 days isolation. So that will probably it'll slow up his rehab a little bit. Sam Clucas is out working with the medical team on the grass. Seema's out working on the grass with the medical team. Obviously, Alfie Doughty's come back into training, and Morgan Fox has come back into training, and Sam Surridge is suspended. So I think that's everyone in terms of the state of play of the players that will be on.
Jordan Thompson, Michael.
Jordan's not out in the grass yet, and still is having problems with that knee. So we just have to be careful with him a little bit and how we manage that injury. So that's an ongoing problem.
And Morgan Fox had no reaction from his appearance, and Tymon's okay?
We're waiting on Josh, to be honest. Josh, as we speak, is out with the medical team. So he had a scan yesterday, which I think didn't reveal too much, but we just got to see how he feels physically today. And obviously you're a little bit concerned about the risk attached to that as well. So we'll just have to see how he comes through today.
As you've been a former international manager, how frustrated are you that there won't be any compensation for the loss of players like Suter and Bursic after international appearances?
Compensation in terms of?
Well, paying the wages.
My understanding is that is in place, particularly in the case of Suter. I'm not so sure about Joe's situation because of England under-21s, but I would imagine with the FA it is. So I don't know the exact details of what that is, but I know that there is their wages will, as I understand it, be subsidised for the period obviously that they're out injured.
And finally, from me, Tyreese Campbell, a really good goal off his weaker foot. He must be pushing for a start now, and that must have given great confidence to the squad.
Well, the important thing is what it's given to Tyreese. He's had to be patient, and I think we have to manage him still. I don't think that you can take an isolation, a bit of magic from Tyreese and feel that he's ready to play 90 minutes now. We have to manage him, and that's very, very important. And so we'll make a decision whether we feel he's ready to start yet, or whether we still feel that it'd be more beneficial for him affecting games on the bench. I think you've got to be realistic as well. The time period that Tyreese was out is you're looking at 10 or 11 months. So we need to make sure, this is a long-term situation, and there can't be a clamour for him to play just because he's obviously had a great goal and a great finish. But he did that coming off the bench, so there's no reason why he can't continue to do that. And we get more minutes in his legs and get more confidence in him and get more durability in him, not only through games but through training as well. And there's not only is there a physical side to a return from injury, but there's a mental side to it as well. But certainly it was great to see Tyreese in that situation and doing what we expected him to do. That's the most pleasing thing about that he had the belief in himself and the trust in his legs that he would be able to deal with the one-on-one with the defender, and as you rightly say, he had to go on his weaker side, and it was a great finish.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ange. George now, please.
Michael, obviously the momentum's with you in terms of 3 wins on the spin and 3 clean sheets, and your goals against goal looks very healthy at this time, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, we're delighted with the run. Obviously, three wins in a response to a difficult period leading into that, a difficult week we had, and we've shown a lot. We've shown great character. We've had to find different ways to win. We've dealt with problems in those games in terms of the players we've lost through injury as well. So all of those things are factors. But you're right, it's not easy to win 3 games in this league, and not very many teams do it on a consistent basis. So we're in a good place, and we look to add to that. There's no doubt that the 3 clean sheets helps us. We feel we've got real quality in the team, so we always feel that we're capable of scoring a goal. I don't think there's been too many games this season where we've not scored, and if we can keep a clean sheet, then obviously that's going to put us in a strong position to win games.
And that's the starting point, as you've already said, but you've already said that and alluded to, you can't always win with style. So you've got to find different ways, and you are finding different ways to win with the change of the squad from time to time, Michael, aren't you?
Well, yeah, look, I think we've had personnel changes in, not, you know, if you look at Saturday, there's a personnel change with the change in the goalkeeper, the change in the back three. So that all of that, they're different players, so that all of that affects how the team will play. Of course it is. You know, any team will feel that. You don't, any player that comes in, they're never two players that are exactly similar in terms of what they bring to the team. So we have to deal with that. We have to be flexible to deal with that, and we have to find ways to win, and that's what we have shown. We've defended well when we've had to, and obviously we've had you know, maybe not the quality in terms of possession that we've had in earlier games in the season, but if you look at the quality of the goals, you know, if I look at the goal, for example, against Luton, it's a brilliant goal, great play from Romain Sawyers. You look at the goal on Saturday, the first goal is a very good goal, good build-up play and a great finish from Mario, and Tyrese's goal is also a very good individual goal. So yeah, look, I think there's been real moments of quality in there as well, and we just continue to work and improve as a team.
But the introduction of Danny Batth back into the team has not gone amiss by a lot of people in more ways than one, and he's added to that spine, hasn't he, Michael?
But Danny's a very experienced centre back. You know, we know what he brings to the team. He defends his box well. He's very brave. He's a real team player. I think he's got good leadership qualities in there as well. So there's no doubt. You know, he's had to be patient. You know, Harry's been a big part of the team in the last 15 months, and you know, Danny's been part of that as well last season. Now he's had to be, you know, he's had to wait for his chance this season. There's good competition in the back three, and you know, the thing about Danny is when he comes into the team, you know what you're going to get, and he's waited his turn, and obviously he's done well since he came back in.
But we've seen how this league is jockeying around them time to time, and you can't go into any game, irrespective of where you are in the league or where the opposition is. Israel, Bristol City will like to pick up some momentum now after they got a decent result at the weekend, Michael.
Of course, you know, like they're, I think, you know, closer to the bottom than they'd like to be, or the bottom three positions, and but there's some very good players still. Obviously, we know their squad quite well because Dean Holden was there last season, so we know that, you know, with good knowledge on the players. Nigel Pearson's come in, and I think they've struggled a little bit at home. There's no, the results tell you that. So you know, we've got to try and get in the front foot. We've got to make sure it's difficult for them in the game to play at home, and you know, stamp our own personality on the game as well.
Thank you, Michael. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, George. Now, Dan, if you've got anything, Dan.
Just a couple of questions, please, Michael. I mean, I appreciate you're a professional. You have to look at one game at a time, and that's the only way you can deal with it. But after 18 games, you're in fourth. Are the fans allowed to get a little bit excited?
Yeah, well, look, I've always said that, and I said this from the moment I came into the club, that, you know, the responsibility of the players and myself and the club as a whole is to create expectation and to create excitement, and you do that through how you play as a team, and you do that obviously through your league position as well. And of course our league position is very, very healthy at this minute in time in a very, very tight league, you know, but we're in a good position. We've got to continue to build on that. Yeah, of course we want the fans to be excited. You know, we're not going to tell them, you know, not to be. That would be pretty pessimistic to have that approach. But yeah, look, we know particularly our home form has been excellent this season, you know, and we got to continue with that. But equally, you know, I think in recent weeks, particularly our away form has picked up, and we have the chance to add to that again tomorrow night.
You've just passed your 2 years in charge. That's actually more than the last three managers added together. How much are you and how much is Stoke City benefiting from that bit of continuity?
Well, I benefit because it means that I continue to get paid. So that's, you know, a pretty obvious answer to that. But I think any club benefits from that. But it has to, you know, it has to be right. We have to feel that the club is going in the right direction. And so 2 years it seems like a long time, but I think, you know, when the changes that have been made have not been easy to make. It takes time. You obviously to transform a squad, it takes time as well. and you have to go through. You can obviously only change players every 6 months in terms of January and a summer transfer window. So all of those things are parts of the process. I think it's not for me to judge whether, really whether that continuity is the right thing or not. That's for people from the outside. But I know that we've been consistent in how we've done my job since I come in here. I know exactly where I want the club to go. I know exactly the type of players that we want to sign. I know exactly how much we're going to be able to pay and not pay for players, and what the club looks financially going forward. And what we want to build is a stable, sustainable football club that can push to be in the Premier League. And hopefully, as I say, we're on that right track now.
Final question from me. If we just go back over your last few games, fantastic performance to beat West Bromwich Albion, 4 defeats, the amazing draw against Cardiff when you were 3-0 up, and then 3 victories. Do we have to do our seatbelts up and get ready for the ride? Because this is the Championship, and that perhaps your recent run epitomises what we're going to look forward to over the forthcoming months.
Yeah, I think that it. Look, when we look at the games that we lost, 4 defeats is one was in the cup, so that's a different scenario. The 3 league games that we lost, we felt a bit hard done by. We felt a little bit shortchanged because we were certainly more than in a lot of those games. We lost leads both away at Millwall and away at Sheffield United, and it's very difficult away from home in this league. You see that consistently. You look at Bournemouth have been excellent this season, but they lost to Derby at the weekend, and that's just the nature of the league we're in. Look, I would rather it was much more plain sailing and that we would come through the games and I would be able to draw a nice little graph for you exactly how it's going to be, but I'm not sure we will be able to do that. What I do know is that, results aside, we're very, very consistent in how we work at the club, very consistent in terms of how we train the team and prepare the team. And that's something that we believe in, and hopefully that's something that the players believe in. And going forward, we believe that's the approach to try and have that smoother transition. But it is the Championship, and you have to adapt to what it throws at you. And sometimes it throws at you difficult weeks, fixture-wise, and you lose games that you come away scratching your head, thinking, how did we not manage to take something from that game? But the important thing is you get the right reaction, and that's probably been the most encouraging thing for me this season, is that the reaction of the players has been consistently good.